Hello and welcome back to another episode of Projecting Grandeur. I'm your host, Ron Dichter. Thanks for tuning in. Just a quick shout out to all of you that have commented and liked, and definitely those that have shared. It's been a ton of fun producing these episodes, and I hope all of you are getting as much out of them as I hope. Jumping right into things, I wanted to talk a little bit today about my dad. For those of you that don't know, I lost my father a little over 2 years ago now to brain cancer. And for any of you out there that have lost somebody to cancer, and specifically brain cancer, it's really hard. My dad was very much with it. He was 76 years old. He was incredibly healthy. He lived a healthy life. He exercised vigorously. He was into sports and always just had just kind of this excitement for life. He loved to travel, and he was an attorney for a good chunk of his life, and then later on became an arbitrator. And for those of you that are unfamiliar with what an arbitrator does, an arbitrator is kind of like a judge that reviews cases from two parties outside of court and makes a binding ruling based upon the findings. And it's just a more efficient way to handle the judicial system and have cases go through a little bit quicker. And I've had a lot of chances, thank goodness, to talk to him before I lost him, and he always was a kind of a guiding light for me in business. And he had this one saying that I really want to spend the bulk of this episode talking about, which was take the high road. And let me just explain kind of what this means. So in business, frankly, in life, we're always faced with decisions that we need to make. There are things that happen where you have to make choices, and sometimes those choices are not always easy to decide which one you should do. And the concept of taking the high road is don't stoop to somebody's level. Don't take the unethical route. Don't take the shortcut just because it's quick, even if the decision ends up making your ethics questioned. His concept was, listen, you just have to be the better person in all scenarios. And so when you're facing a scenario where you have to make a choice, he always told me to think about what's right, think about what the outcome could be if you choose the right path. And while you might get to the end result quicker if you take the shortcut, you might not like yourself at the end of the day after you make that decision. And so taking the high road is just being the better person. And there's been so many times, from my early days of starting Millennium on through to my businesses later on, and frankly even today, even without him here, I think about this concept when I'm making decisions of taking the high road. We are often pressed with, decisions where, maybe we don't like, the way somebody either within our company or outside of our company is handling something, or, we're questioning a decision based upon, kind of the morality around it. And again, it's always important to remember, making money in business is important, and finding a quick path to getting a result is important. But if you have to, compromise who you are as a person, if you have to compromise, your ethics, around what is right and what is wrong, and if you can't live with the decision after it's made, taking the high road is all about being the person that you want to be, being the person that is right, being the person that is true. Because while it might sometimes take longer, it might sometimes feel like it's a lot easier to take the shortcut, when you get to that end result, you're going to be a lot happier with who you are, a lot happier with the decision, and more importantly, the people that you interact with, the people you do business with, they're going to have tremendous respect for you as a person. And again, business is about the long game. You can't just be focused about tomorrow. And so your reputation, is paramount for you to be successful as a business owner. And if you want to be known as a person that cuts corners, is shady or unethical, or does things that are questionable, or is all about chasing the dollar and doesn't care about anybody along the way, like that's who you're going to be known as. And so taking the high road is all about making sure that you make decisions that you feel good about, that you ultimately look in the mirror and you want to say, that's the person I want to be. And sometimes it's a longer path. Frankly, sometimes it might even seem like the wrong path, but again, if you're taking a shortcut, cutting corners, or doing things to others that's harmful just so that you can get ahead, that's probably not, at least how I want to run my business, and certainly now not how I want to live my life. I want to be able to sleep at night. I want to be able to look myself in the mirror and be proud of who the person I've become is. I want to know that I've made decisions that aren't always selfish and in my best interest, but sometimes in the best interest of the people who I interact with, whether that be team members or vendors or businesses or customers. I want to be proud of the person that I've become. And again, if you're looking at things from a long-term point of view, you've got time. And so I just would ask everybody, as you're faced with these decisions in your business and in your life, and you're trying to decide, what is right, what is wrong, make decisions based upon, really taking the high road. So I hope everybody out there has people that they can count on and listen to. My dad was such an important part of my life, and the fact that he's been gone for a little over 2 years now. I mean, I miss him every day, but things I've learned from him, I hope to pass on to my kids, and taking the high road is one of those principles that I will never forget. So love you, Dad. Thank you so much. I hope you guys found this helpful. Please comment, like, share. Let's get the message out there, and thanks for tuning in. Have a good day.